right, so Course in Miracles and original edition, but actually we're not in the original edition, so we're in edited version, but I think it's the same. We are in the Teacher's Manual, section number 3, and it's called What Are the Levels of Teaching? We did the Miracles Roulette, and that's how we got to this. All right, so what I'll do is I'll read a paragraph, and then we'll focus on what did that just say, and then we'll focus on how do we use that. How do we use that with something that I'm going through right now, okay? So, it says, the teachers of God have no set teaching level. What does that mean? That means each teaching learning situation involves a different relationship at the beginning, although the ultimate goal is always the same. What's the ultimate goal of every teaching learning situation? It is to make of that relationship a holy relationship. What's a holy relationship? A holy relationship is a relationship in which both people in that relationship can look upon themselves and each other as guiltless, sinless. What's a holy relationship? A holy relationship is where both people see each other as guiltless. Not perfect, still having an ego, but guiltless. Okay? So seeing each other as guiltless doesn't mean, oh, you don't have an ego. It just means, oh, you have an ego. So what? You have an ego. Yep, you're still learning. And you're guiltless. And learning is not a sin. Still having an ego, still learning, that's not a sin. That's not a sin. That's nothing to feel guilty about. It's not a sin. You're still guiltless. Don't feel bad. Don't feel guilty. That's the goal. That's what a holy relationship is. How do we know we have a holy relationship? We see each other as guiltless, even though we know both of each other are mistaken a lot and still have an ego. That's a holy relationship, and that's the goal of every teaching, learning situation. Okay? And by the way, what is a teaching, learning situation? It's a relationship. Basically. That's, oh, would you like to be in a relationship with me? Is the same as saying, would you like to be in a teaching, learning relationship with me? Where at the beginning we see each other as full of guilt and there's a lot of blame, and we see each other and we see each other's behaviors as sometimes good and sometimes sinful, but it won't always stay that way. We will learn and we will teach each other and we will learn together that it's no sin. It's no sin to still be learning. That's what a relationship is. And it's also the relationship. It's also the relationships that a teacher of God, a teacher of peace, any relationship that somebody who they decided, hey, I would like to be somebody who's kind, helpful. I'd like to be somebody who's helpful to the planet and to others. That's a teacher of God. A teacher of God is somebody who for one moment saw somebody else's interests as not separate than their own. Not separate than their own. For one moment, you looked and you went, oh, if that person doesn't have peace, I don't. If that person is helped, and if that person has enough, then I do. And not before. Of course, the Miracle says, in that moment, you became a teacher of God, even if you don't believe in God. And most probably you don't. Mm-hmm. Most people say they believe in God, but most people don't act like they do. Anybody ever notice that?
Yes.
How do you know when somebody doesn't really believe in God? When they have an issue, what do they go to first? Not God. That's how you know that even though they say they believe in God, they don't really believe in God. They believe in themselves as separate, or they believe in their ego. You know, they believe in what they go to when they're stressed. You believe in what you go to when you're scared. And so when you're scared and you're stressed and you go to fear and you go to blame and you go to the ego, that's who you believe in, not God. So we got any atheists in the room who did not know they were atheists? Any atheists in denial? All right. All right. Is that a redundant statement, a redundant phrase? An atheist in denial. Okay. So, when you have become a teacher of God, even if you don't believe in God, then every single relationship that you have from that point forward is a teaching, learning situation whose ultimate goal is to learn how to see those people as guiltless, as sinless. That's the whole goal of that relationship. Now, it doesn't start out like that. It seems to be something different as it starts, right? It doesn't seem, those relationships don't start off like this. Hey, would you like to have a teaching learning situation with me where we're going to learn how to see each other as guiltless no matter what each other does? That's not how it starts. It usually starts like this. You look like somebody I remember from my past who did me wrong. You look like somebody who could make up for what you know who did to me in the past that I never got over. Right? That's how they usually start off. But they start off in that way, and then the whole goal of them is to get to the point where we're like, oh, they're just like me. We are the same. They don't know who they are, and they're making a lot of mistakes, and so am I. And who they are is an innocent child of God that just forgot who they are, who really just wants love and wants to be loving and be loved, and so am I. And everything else is just a mistake, not a sin. That's where all of our relationships are going to. Yay! Yay. Oh, and the crowd went crazy with applause, knowing that was the destiny of all their relationships. Yeah, right. Have you met my stepmother? Okay. All right, the Course in Miracles does say, don't sweat it, because it is the destiny of all relationships to become innocent again. Where you go, oh, you are innocent. You didn't know what you were doing, and I didn't know what I was doing, and you didn't know who you were, and I didn't know who I was, and we didn't change a thing. Nothing happened. You're innocent. So am I. Yay, let's go have a beer. That is the destiny of all relationships. Now, you can take a few lifetimes to get there. But do you really want to have a few more lifetimes with you-know-who?
No.
Or would you like to do it today?
Today.
How about today? And not have to meet this person in a few more lifetimes and go through all that pain for nothing, only to die and be reborn, to meet them again, to have conflict with them for another lifetime, and then die and be reborn to meet them again and have some more conflict with them. Now, that just seems like a waste of time. Or you can see them as sinless and innocent and guiltless tonight and save yourself some time and go have a good time. All right. Now we know, and if you know what the goal of your relationships is, you can save yourself time. A lot of time. You save your relationships time by going, oh yeah, okay, that's what we're here together for. I thought we were together for you to fulfill my script. I thought we were together to have a good time. Save yourself time and look at your relationships differently, especially the ones you have conflict in right now. Look at them again and go, oh, right, I forgot why we're together. I thought we were together, and I thought you were here just to torture me. I'm pretty sure of it. All my friends agree with me. I thought that I was here to make you happy and fulfill you. And that apparently did not work. And I just remembered that we're here, we're really together not to get something. We really came together to remember and to see each other as guiltless. Now, if that's the purpose of the every teaching learning situation, who do you think are the people that are going to be drawn to you and vice versa? The people you have not seen as guiltless. If the purpose is to see each other as guiltless, and that's the goal of every teaching, learning situation, that's the goal of all learning. That's the goal of all teaching. That's the goal of all relationships. That's the goal. Well, then who's going to be brought to you to learn that? The people that either, number one, remind you of the people that you did not see as guiltless and sinless, or the people that you have not been seeing as innocent for a few lifetimes. You know, the ones that you recognize them immediately, and then you have conflict with them very shortly thereafter. So, but once you know why you've been brought together and you know what the purpose is, well, then now you can get to it. You can get to it and fulfill the mission, fulfill the purpose of those relationships. And on the other side of fulfilling the purpose of those relationships, why they were brought to you, on the other side of that is a lot of fun and a lot of abundance and a lot of joy and a lot of love and a lot of fun. Did I mention fun? Okay. All right. Got to throw something in there to motivate the ego. Ego's like, fun, okay, oh. I'm not into love. Ego can't relate to love, but you said fun. Get the ego's attention. All right. Any questions so far? Anybody in here forget the purpose of the relationships that they were in? Anybody in here in some relationships that that seem really hard to see that person as guiltless? Anybody? Okay. And you're just certain that they are the ones making it hard for you to see them as innocent. You're certain that if they were different, you would be happy. Anybody in any of those relationships? Okay, all right. Just checking to make sure I wasn't in the wrong class. All right. So tonight we're remembering what is the purpose of every one of our relationships. Oh yeah, they're teaching, learning situations brought to me once again so that I can learn once again to see this person as sinless, as guiltless. And we heard what that really means. It doesn't mean you see them with no ego. It means you just go, oh yeah, I don't know who they are either. And they are making a lot of mistakes out of their not knowing who they are, just like me. They don't know who they are, just like me. They are mistaken most of the time, just like me. They think everybody else is the problem, just like me. They're acting, they're real busy, acting and projecting while they're insane, just like me. That's what it means to see somebody as sinless. It doesn't mean you don't see them it doesn't mean you see them without an ego. It means you forgive them for having an ego and still learning, like you. All right. Now, all grievances are my expectation that somebody not have an ego anymore. That's all I'm upset about. You know, how dare you still have an ego and still be projecting and making mistakes all day long, like me. So, but forgiveness is really the realization, and it's the forgiveness of them for still having an ego. That's what forgiveness really means. Okay. All right. And then if I was really forgiving them, I wouldn't be upset that they were still acting crazy. I wouldn't be upset when I saw them being insane. I wouldn't be upset, I wouldn't be offended, I wouldn't be holding a grievance. Why? Because I'd be like, hey, they still have an ego, they're still learning. What do I expect? What do I expect them to be happy and helpful and healing all day long? All my grievances are false expectations. And all my forgiveness is like, well, of course they are still acting crazy every once in a while. They have a split mind. They still have an ego. What do I expect? That they never act insane? That's kind of mean, don't you think? To have that expectation of somebody who's still on earth in a body. You're on earth, you got a body, guess what? You're gonna have an ego, which means a split mind, which means one day you're gonna be acting loving and kind and helpful, and the other day you're gonna be mean and cruel. And all the things that come along with that. So, I'd like to experience forgiveness where I don't have that expectation that people are sane. Do you know how fun your life would be if you did not have that expectation for people to be sane? You'd have so much fun. People would think you was the easiest person to be around. Because you were not expecting them to be sane. Or to be loving. They're sane all the time. All right. Any other questions or comments before we go on? Now, it says, there is no one from whom you cannot learn. You are a teacher of love. There's no one from whom you cannot learn, which means there's no one from whom you cannot teach. There's no one from whom you cannot learn. There's no one that you cannot teach. Good to know. However, from a practical, so you can learn from everybody. You can learn, you can teach everybody. But from a practical point of view, you can't meet everybody. You can't meet everybody from a practical point of view. And so, nor can everyone find you. So, that's why the plan, the healing plan that was given us by love, includes very specific contacts to be made for each of us, each teacher of love. The plan, the grand plan for the healing of man, that the Course in Miracles calls the atonement, includes very specific contacts to be made for each of us. So, what is every encounter that we have? That's a specific contact. It's an appointment. It's an appointed encounter. It's an appointment. Oh, I did not realize I had an appointment to meet you today. Aha! So every encounter you have, it's a specific contact, meaning it's an assignment. It's not an accident. There's forgiveness right there. Oh, I'm supposed to meet this person. I'm supposed to have that encounter with that person. I'm supposed to look at that person across the room, even if I never see them again. That's forgiveness right there, and it immediately brings back to your memory why you're having that specific contact. Okay? This is what teachers of God, teachers of love, which we are, need to remember. That's what makes us healers and teachers. What makes us healers and teacher, and what makes us a powerful healing agent wherever we go, is that we know we're supposed to meet that person. We know that our encounter is not an accident. Okay? And because we have that awareness, we bring awareness to that encounter. When you bring awareness to an encounter, you're bringing power. You're bringing purpose. You're bringing healing to that encounter. And then people go, man, who was that? Who was that person? People feel that. So when you bring awareness to an encounter, you bring power to an encounter. You bring a gift. You bring a gift into that encounter. Why? Because you brought awareness to that encounter. What's the awareness? Oh, this is an interesting specific contact that I am experiencing right now. Nice. And that's what makes you a teacher of love. And that's what makes you a healer. All right. So a healer just knows why they're there. Yes?
So I'm wondering, when it said that Jesus was fully human and fully God and fully human.
Yes, yes.
I wonder if that's what it really means.
I think so. That's a beautiful way of saying that. So when you know that every encounter you have is a setup and a cosmic setup, then you literally are acting as a human, but with a divine awareness, a divine purpose. The purpose of seeing somebody as guiltless, that is a divine purpose. That's a divine assignment. Because truly, that is all, any and every single creation, human being or otherwise, needs. The only thing that every human being needs is to be released from guilt. That's all they want. That's all they need, to be restored to the memory of who they really are and their natural state and the abundance and the freedom and the joy. That is their natural state. That's all they need. Their only problem is guilt. They don't know it, but you do. And that's what makes you an agent of healing. That's what makes you the instrument of power in their encounter, in your encounters with them. Because you know what they really need at the core, and I mean the core, fundamental, only need that they really have is to feel innocent again. And so you bring that. And so you may talk about the weather. You may talk about the Broncos. I know. You may talk about the Rockies, just like your shirt. But since you bring the awareness that the only thing they need is to be released from guilt, to be reminded that they're innocent, you're innocent. Don't feel bad, you're innocent. Because you bring that to them, you are literally bringing to them the only thing they need. The one answer to their one need. That's powerful. That's powerful. You can't walk away from an encounter like that where you meet a human being's deepest need. You can't walk away from that and not feel good about yourself. You can't walk away from that and not feel full and surging, full of real value, real worth. That's where real self-esteem comes from. You want some real self-esteem? You want real self-worth? That's where it comes from. Not what you do, not what you accomplish, not what you have, not what you look like. When you know you've walked away from another human being and you've released them, given them what they most deeply need as a human being, and you walk away and you know that you gave it, even if they don't get it, you walk away feeling real worth, real value. And you're like, dang, I want me some more of that. Who's next? Where's some more guilty people? Oh, look, I didn't have to look too far. They're everywhere. Oh, look, I'm so blessed. I'm on a whole planet of people who believe that they're guilty for nothing. Lucky me. Lucky me. Everywhere I go, I have an opportunity. I have an opportunity to fill myself with the ultimate feeling of worth and value. Wow. Lucky me. Now, when you have that awareness that that's the only purpose of every teaching, learning situation, which is every relationship and every encounter, then then your life becomes that rich. Rich. Okay, not bad. Okay, so it says, from a practical point of view, we can't meet every single body, they can't meet us, and so the plan includes very specific contacts to be made for each of us. And that has to mean that there's no accidents in this healing plan of man. There's no accidents in the healing plan of mankind. That's going down. What's going down on earth? The healing plan man. That's what's really going down. That's what's really happening. And every encounter is a part of that plan. All right. And which means there's no accidents in this plan that's going down. No accidents. That means that those who are to meet will meet. Why are these folks going to meet? Why do we meet the people we're going to meet? Because together, only together, we and this person that we just met with have the potential for a healed relationship. Together with each person that we meet, each specific contact, together we have the potential. Did you say the potential? Yes. The potential for a holy relationship. In other words, you're ready for each other. Oh, hi, we must be ready for each other. Okay. Wow. What would it be like? Oh, yes.
So does the guilt come from anywhere other than the obvious places, like, you know, our upbringing, church, you know, cultural?
Yeah, all that, but all of that is the symptoms of the belief in guilt, the belief in sin. And the Course in Miracles says that the original sin, or the original belief in sin and guilt, came when we believed that we could separate from the universe. When we believed that we could separate from Source, the one source of all life, the source of love. So, and after that one decision, then now our churches and our synagogues and our mosques and all our religions teach guilt, and our parents teach us guilt, and our culture teaches us guilt, and our TV teaches us guilt, and no. Does that make sense? Okay, yeah. So it's just like this. There's a child who's been raised by a loving parent, and this parent was truly loving, a wise parent. And that child's like, screw you, I'm out of here. And the child runs away from home and essentially rejecting the loving parent. That's the child, according to the Course, can't run away from the parent and reject the loving parent, not the bad parent, but the loving parent, without a sense of guilt. And that's where the guilt started, according to the Course. We are the prodigal child who said, thanks for everything, loving, kind parent who gave me everything, but screw you, I'm out of here, like Cartman says. I can't believe I just did a South Park reference in first class. I feel so much closer to you all now. I love South Park. That's where guilt came from. You can't, this says a child can't run away and reject the loving parent without a sense of, oh my God, what have I done? And we know that child has guilt because, like in the story of the prodigal son, the child, once the son realizes what he's done, he's so filled with shame. So filled with shame. That's where the shame comes in. That he won't go back. For a long time, he won't go back, even though he squandered all of his abundance, all of his inheritance. He squandered it on wine, women, and song. You know, the standard waste of inheritance, right? And it's filled with shame. Filled with shame. And that's our guilt. If you were to look at the core of our guilt, it's the shame. Oh my God, what have I done? I was given life. I was was given power, I was given gifts. What did I do with them?
I don't know.
I squandered them on things of no value. I threw them away. And now I feel too ashamed to go back to God and say, hi, God. That's why sometimes prayer is hard, and that's why sometimes it seems hard to go back to prayer and to go back to God because of the shame we feel. Ultimately, the Course says that is the reason that we don't turn to God for everything. We don't turn to God for everything. Why is that?
Because the ego wants you to think that God is mad at you.
Exactly. The ego wants you to believe that God is pissed. You can't go back to Him now. You can't ask God for help with that mouth that you just used to curse God's children.
That's right. And I stole his job.
That's right. Like you hear somebody cussing up a storm and you say, "Did you kiss your mama with that mouth?" You know, you ever heard that? It's the same thing. The Course in Miracles says, if you lay bloody hands on God's children by judging them, by rejecting them and condemning them, then you're not going to feel innocent about going to God, their parent. You're going to feel like, it's too late for me to turn to God now. He's mad. He's pissed. He knows what I've done. I haven't been exactly loving to His children. Starting with myself. Right. So ultimately the Course says that's why we are afraid to go to the one place, the one source that would say, you're my child. I love you. I don't care if you didn't do anything. I love you. Everything I have is yours. Come back. I love you. I don't care. I'm not offended. The one place, the one source of unconditional love. And we won't go there. We won't go back there. Because our ego has convinced us that the one place that would be unconditionally loving will judge us. Wow, that is so mean. The ego is, when you really know what the ego is, you will see that it is the epitome, the ultimate cruelty, the ultimate in evil, which is cruelty. What is evil? It's cruelty without conscience. And that is a voice we have, ladies and gentlemen, within ourselves. We do have a voice of evil, but it's not outside of us. But it is a voice of cruelty without conscience. Wow. Okay, now, at the opposite of that, there's only one way to undo that evil, that cruelty within ourselves. There's only one way to counteract it and to make it disappear. Go back to the nothingness from which it came. And that is to decide that you only want to be a voice for love in the world. All you want to do is be a voice for guiltlessness. For whomever you meet, whatever seems to be the teaching learning situation that's going on, all you want to be is the voice for guiltlessness. That is how you counteract and reverse the ego, the evil ego. That's how you counteract it and reverse it. And not only that, but it's how you counteract and reverse a whole world that's been run by and based on that cruel, evil ego. Not bad, eh? How would you like to reverse an entire world of an entire history of the evil of the ego? Well, and how would you like to counteract and reverse all the effects of the ego in your own life? All of them, all of them from the past, all of them in the present. How would you like to counteract all effects of your ego, cruel ego? You do this. You decide that you have a new purpose. I got a new purpose in this mind. There's a new sheriff in town. There's a new purpose in this mind. Now my only one purpose is to release from guilt wherever I go, and I don't care if it takes the form of we talk about the weather. I don't care if we talk about the weather, but they walk away feeling innocent about who they are and what they're doing. That purpose reverses all the effects of the ego in your life and in your body and in the world. How would you like to counteract and reverse all the effects of the ego in your body? Anybody? I would. Very nice. I went to my family reunion, a yearly family reunion, lots of cousins I see every year, and they looked at me and they're like, "Did time stop still for you? Don't you age? What?" They just looked at me with this puzzled look, like, what? Now we see you every year, but you seem to be going backwards. Yeah, and so, and I said, well, there's some good reasons for that.
Surgery.
And that's not an accident, because you see my siblings, right? So, I do look pretty good too, but, I said to them, there's a reason for that, and if you're interested, I can tell you. But do you think any one of them came up to me the whole time I was there, the whole 11 days, and said, do tell me, what is that? Because I'd like some of it. Nobody. No, zero. In 11 days.
Wow.
They all commented, but, I would have said, well, it starts with forgiveness as your purpose. Because grievances, having the purpose of making other people feel guilty so that they will fulfill your script, which is what goes by love in this world, as a way of aging a person.
They become part of your biology.
They became what?
Part of your biology.
That's right. The grievances become part of your biology. Your biology starts mirroring attack. Your biology starts mirroring attack. There we go. The tumor attacked. Right? So the biology starts mirroring attack. So every time, there's only two purposes we could have with other people, and that is to make them feel responsible for our happiness, which is guilt, and then call it love, or to release them from guilt, knowing that that's really love. That's the only two things that we could be doing with another human being. You either make them responsible for your happiness, and then make them feel guilty, or releasing them from guilt. One of those purposes makes for relationships that are fun and joyous and free and abundant and alive and healing, and another makes for relationships that make you want to kill yourself. The Course says, how lovely do the laws of fear make death appear.
Wow.
People are just like, oh my God, if I have to take just another minute of this person, kill me now. You hear people saying that. Yeah, well, their cells are also listening. Their cells also heard that. Oh, kill you now? Okay. Sure. Whatever you say, boss, says our cells, says our biology. So, kind of motivating, for changing your purpose. That's what motivates me. All right. Because when you put like that, what grievance is worth a body that gets sicker and older and harder and more painful. What grievance, tell me, ladies and gentlemen, is worth that? Really? Can anybody name a grievance that's worth being in a sick, ailing, painful body?
No. No.
No. Let's try to remember that next time someone pisses us off. What did that lady say? Oh, I don't remember. Okay. All right. So then it says, all right. Oh, we meet because we're ready for each other. All right. Then it says, the simplest level of teaching and learning appears to be quite superficial. And this superficial meeting consists of what seems to be very casual encounters. A so-called chance meeting of two apparent strangers in an elevator, a child who's not looking where they're going, running into an adult, so-called by chance, two students, so-called happening to walk home together. These are not chance encounters. Why? Because each of these encounters has the potential for becoming a teaching, learning situation. How do you mean? Well, perhaps the seeming strangers in the elevator will smile to one another. Perhaps the adult will not scold the child for bumping into them. Perhaps the students will become friends. Even at the level of the most casual encounter, it is possible for two people to lose sight of separate interests, if only for a moment. And that moment will be enough. Release has come to both. Doesn't matter, it's just a moment. Release, healing has come to both. From what? They lost sight of separate interests for one moment. That's a moment. For one moment. They didn't see their interests as separate from each other. The other one saw the other person's peace as their own peace. The other one saw that person feeling innocent as their own feeling of feeling innocent and guiltless. For one moment, even if it was just a smile. It's hard to feel guilty about yourself when someone smiles at you. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to hate yourself when someone just smiles at you. You know, you couldn't be that bad. You couldn't be the evil monster your ego told you. The evil, ugly monster that your ego told you you were that morning when you were looking in the mirror. If somebody just looks at you and they just smile for no reason, you couldn't be that bad. That's why all it takes is a smile. Isn't that nice? How simple. And it's cheap, it's free. Doesn't cost anything. Wow. Okay, so that's, remember it says the levels of teaching and the levels of learning. Okay, so the first level of teaching and learning appears to be what we call a casual encounter. That's the first level of the teaching and learning situations. Right, that's the first one. And then it says, the next paragraph, it says, it is difficult to understand that levels of teaching the universal course is a concept as meaningless in reality as is time meaningless. So there's no, all the levels of healing, the levels of loving other people, that's ridiculous. There ain't no levels of loving. Loving is loving is loving. I don't care if you're loving a stranger with a smile and you never see him again, or you're living with this person for the rest of your life. There's no levels of love. But we're still going to talk about it like there is. Because that's what you talk about with people who believe in levels. All right, we love our levels. Good. Why do we love levels? Because we love seeing ourselves as a level above. And we love seeing ourselves as a level below. We love our levels. Okay. All right. Okay, then it says, in this illusion of one, time, permits the illusion of the other, the illusion of levels. Okay, you got the illusion of time, you got the illusion of levels. Okay. In time, though, you, the teacher of love, the demonstrator of love, you seem to begin to change your mind about the world with a single decision. I'm going to be a teacher of love, okay? I've decided, okay? You change your mind about the world with a single decision, and then as time goes by, then you learn more and more about the new direction as you teach it. So it goes like this. You know, I'm tired of being a walking grievance. I've done it. I'm tired of being a walking grievance. Always complaining about something. Always upset about something. And nothing's ever good enough. And nothing's ever right. And everybody's making me feel bad. I'm tired of being a walking grievance. And I'm tired of looking like one too. Yeah, that's the worst part. I've decided that I want to be a demonstrator of love on the planet. I just want to be a channel for love on the planet. Okay, you make that decision. It's a single decision. And then as time goes by, you learn what it really means to be a teacher of love. You make the decision. You don't understand what that means. You learn what it means to be what you are, what you've decided to be as you teach it. So when you, at the beginning stages of being a healer, a teacher of love, you don't know what you are. You don't know your power. You don't know your worth. You don't know your value. You don't know what you're really doing. But you learn and you learn and you learn and you learn as each encounter occurs, and you remember, oh yeah, I'm just supposed to be releasing from guilt. Oh, look at that, wow, power. Okay, that's how your curriculum goes. And then it says, he says, we've covered the illusion of time already, but the illusion of levels of teaching love seems to be something different. But perhaps the best way to demonstrate that these levels of loving cannot exist is simply to say that any level of the teaching learning situation is part of love's plan for the healing of man. And guess what? God's plan for the healing of mankind, that can't have any levels. It's all part of it. It's all part of it. It's not like, oh, that encounter has less value to the healing plan of mankind than you meeting the Dalai Lama. Or Mother Teresa. You know, look, that smile you just gave to a stranger in the elevator, that's just as valuable and needed and necessary and vital as Mother Teresa going into the streets of Calcutta and, and helping those people who live on the street. Wow, isn't that powerful? Now, that's good to remember for us. Why? Because we're very, very tempted to believe in the levels and to believe, well, what can I do? I'm just one person, and I only know 20 people. I mean, I've got a lot of Facebook friends. But the illusion is this: my part is small, my part is insignificant. I don't need to put effort into my part. My part's not important. My part's not important. That's why this is important. There's no levels of loving. There's no levels of value and worth in the healing plan of mankind. Every single part, every single smile is just as vital and necessary as all the others. That's so important. Because I see how my ego wants me to dismiss the value of my part. I'm just one person. I think I'll just watch TV. What's right on, James? So that's important for us to remember. Your part is crucial, and not only crucial, look, the whole rest of the healing plan for mankind isn't complete without your part. I don't care if you know one person. I don't care if you have one encounter for the rest of your life. It's the whole rest of the plan of the healing of mankind is incomplete without your part. Wow. So you are important. Wow. I needed to hear that, because my ego always wants to tell me, oh, don't do that. Who cares if you do a class? Who cares if you publish that book? Who cares if you write that poem? Who cares? What difference does it make? The world's full of books. There's a million Course in Miracles teachers and a lot better than you. Anybody else recognize that voice?
Yeah, I do.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. All right. Who needs another one of those things that I just happen to love to do and makes me happy to do? Duh. Thank you, James. It says, so what it's saying is that in the healing plan of mankind, there's no levels. Why? Because the healing plan is a reflection of love's will. And what does that mean? That means love's will is always ready and always there. Love's will, love's plan, love's will is always ready. It's always there. It's always ready. Now, you may work at different levels with each other, but the result's always the same. You know, you may smile to this person. You may live with this person for the rest of your life. But the result's all the same. Oh shoot, if the result of smiling at that person is the same as living with them and forgiving them for a lifetime. All right, I won't take that one any further. All right. In other words, we can accomplish the ultimate goal a lot more easily than you think. If smiling at this stranger you meet in an elevator accomplishes the same goal as Mother Teresa going to the people in Calcutta, wow, then why not smile?
A lot.
Why not write that book? Why not fulfill that dream of that thing that makes you happy to do? When you're doing something that makes you happy, guess what else you're doing? You're being loving. A happy person is a loving person. So don't let your ego tell you that the thing you love to do is insignificant. Don't let your ego tell you that.
You're loving yourself in that moment, and you're being loved by God in that moment.
That's exactly right. And you are, in that moment where you are being happy, you are loving. You will smile to strangers. You will turn to your significant other and go, you're innocent. You're innocent. I don't care that you forgot the groceries you said you'd bring, that you forgot for a whole week. You're innocent. All right. So, we're going to stop here for tonight, but I will tell you that the rest of the section goes on to talk about the second level and then the third level of relationships. So, maybe we'll pick back up there next week. All right. So, and if nothing else, go ahead and read it. Learn about the levels of teaching and learning. All right. So now we're going to do our financial expression of appreciation. You can just leave that on.
Okay.
Okay, so while you guys are doing that, I have a couple new classes coming up. And on August 10th, I'm starting 2 new classes here. And the first one at 6 o'clock is a Urantia class, which is another channeled body of work that's extremely powerful and cosmic and has the exact same purpose as the course. But it's, to me, it's a curriculum that when I'm working it, it makes me extremely happy. And so, apparently I'm supposed to share it. So, because if I'm sharing something that makes me extremely happy, then I'm going to be extremely loving. So, you know, if you need some love, come to that class. So, thank you, dear. So that class goes from 6 to 7:15. Then we'll take a break, and at 7:30, I'm teaching a meditation class. So a meditation class whose purpose is helping us all to learn how to quiet the mind, focus the mind, so that the mind can integrate and heal. Okay. That's a very brief overview of the purpose of the meditation class. Okay? The Course in Miracles says that all problems are answered in quiet. The quiet answer. Okay? That's why it's hard to get a quiet mind. And so the purpose, for me, the ultimate purpose of meditation is learning how to quiet the mind. And that's the hardest thing you'll ever learn. Why? Why? Because there's nothing the ego's more defended against. Why? Because that's where the answer is. And so the ego doesn't want your mind to be quiet. And so the ego's loud and it's noisy and it's always offering unsolicited advice. Just like your most arrogant, nosy friends. I'll tell you what that means. I'll tell you what to do. I'll tell you what that means. I'll tell you, and I know what that means, and I know why they're doing that. Right? That's the ego. And it's the Course says the ego always speaks first. So this is a class whose purpose is us joining in the goal of learning how to quiet the mind so that we can perceive and receive the answers that are already there, just waiting in the quiet. Oh, there they are. Okay, so that, and I'll use a few different curriculums to do that. I'll use the Law of One material, the raw material. I'll use evolutionary enlightenment and the Course and whatever else.
Is that every week on Wednesday?
It's every other week. I mean, it's every other Wednesday. Thank you for asking. It's every other Wednesday. Okay. Now, if you want the details, or if you're uncertain if which Wednesday it is, all you got to do is go to meetup.com. It's a website for groups, and you'll be able to see. It'll have a calendar listing. It also has my telephone number of ways to ask me questions or to contact me if you have any questions. So meetup.com is the way if you're not sure when it's happening. Also, I have cards here, cards that were graciously made by Jerry. Thank you, Jerry. Take one of these cards so you have my phone number. If ever you're wondering if there's class, just text me and just say, is there class? So you can always text me, just have my number. Okay?
Okay.
Any other questions or comments before we begin to do our integration meditation? Yes.
I'm really excited about your classes. Is Urantia a book that I can get? How do you spell that first?
Yes, Urantia.
Oh, TIA.
And you can get it at Barnes & Noble. You can also get it as a download, and Nook or whatever.
Cool.
You know,
Okay.
yeah.
Thank you.
I love having it on my phone, it's so easy.
Yeah.
Hi, guys. Hi. Yeah, oh yes, and for those of you who know James, who's here, this is James' last class for a while. He's moving to Texas, to Houston. And James has been such a sweet, precious part of our class for how many months now? How many? About a year. Wow.
I miss you, James.
Thank you,
We're gonna miss you,
James. Thank you.
Yeah, James, you've been a wonderful part of this class. Thanks for being here, James. Thanks for coming.
Yes.
Thanks for loving this class like you do, James. Listen, if all my students were as determined to be here as James, this classroom would be full. Truly, truly. Thank you, James. All right. Okay. And James, you can still watch us on YouTube. Okay? Oh, and all my classes, the Urantia and the meditation, that'll be on YouTube also.
Where is it?
It's on YouTube. You know, you've seen them. All right. So, let's do our integration meditation. So the integration meditation is just about 2 minutes of just quieting our minds and using the ideas that we heard. So let me find some music. Okay. Alright, so go ahead and close your eyes if you haven't already, and just take a breath. Just tune into how you feel right now, having heard these ideas. How does it feel to have heard them in the company of other mighty companions who've made the same decision that you've made, which is to be a demonstrator of love in a world of fear? And for a moment, let's just appreciate and remember about the decision that we've made. And so, for a moment, we just appreciate, I have decided to be a demonstrator of love in the world. I have decided. And so I am now a teacher of love. Even a teacher of God, even if I don't believe in God. That is accomplished. I have decided that. I just want you to appreciate that decision, that single decision that you did make, that did put you on this path. And because you made that single decision, you are now a vital, crucial, necessary part of love's healing plan for mankind and the planet. You are now part, a vital part, a crucial part, a necessary part of love's plan for the whole world. And love doesn't want you to forget that. Love's plan needs you. And I want you to say to yourself the truth. I am the light of the world. I am the hope of the world. Now, the next part is to remember that because you stood up and said, I will take my place among the healers of the planet. I will take my place among the healers of the planet. Because you did that. Now, every encounter is a holy encounter. It's an appointed encounter. It's a holy and cosmic setup. There are no accidents. I just want you to breathe that in for a moment. That's a very powerful awareness. That's the power that you bring into every relationship and every encounter. That awareness. That purpose. Beautiful. Now, I want you to bring to your awareness an encounter or a specific contact, meaning somebody that you're in a relationship with, that has been really challenging. That maybe you have forgotten why you were with them. You forgot that the purpose of being with this person is to learn how to release them and yourself from guilt. And because you forgot that that was the purpose of that relationship, that relationship seems hard and painful. And it's full of anger, guilt, and grievances. I want you to bring that person to your awareness. And I want you to see them in your mind's eye. And I want you to see what their face and their body looks like to you through the eyes of your grievance. Their mistakes. The eyes that see their mistakes. That person doesn't seem guiltless to you. And now in your mind's eye, I want you to close your eyes, take that person's hand and put it to your heart. And now I want you in your mind's eye to open your eyes and look into their eyes and say to them, you are a perfect and precious part of me. You are a perfect and a precious part of me that I am not complete without. And even though you have made mistakes, you are innocent. You are not your ego, and I am not mine. And then tell them you are sorry for seeing them as their ego, mistaking them for their mistakes. And still looking into their eyes, saying, we are the same, equally mistaken about who we are, and equally innocent and guiltless in the eyes of love. We are the same. And I am so grateful to God that we are connected, that we are one. And then tell them, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for showing up. Thank you for showing up. Because I need you. And then in your mind's eye, hug them close. And feel the forgiveness, feel the power, feel the healing. Filling your heart. And feel the healing flooding your body. Feel the forgiveness filling your mind and flooding every cell in your body with light, golden light, a light of love. And then with your next inhale, just breathe them in. Another part of you. And then just bring your awareness to that quiet center within your own being. That place in you that's always calm and always quiet because God made it that way. And breathe it in. Rest in that place for a moment. I rest in the peace that my Creator placed in me. Thank you, love. Just take a breath and bring your awareness back to the room and back to your body sitting in this chair, in this room, in this place, this time. All right. So now we say amen. Amen. And thank you, God. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for being here.
Appreciate you.
I appreciate you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. Thank you, guys.
Turned out